that links science and economics and law and public and private sector partnerships to work on solutions to environmental problems. In Houston, we focus on air pollution and public health, with the goal that everyone can breathe clean air every day. Roger asked me to share a presentation I gave last year at the Sisters of Charity, and Bill was there also that day. But a lot's happened since then. The Houston area has endured a rash of chemical fires, and now we're experiencing a near halt to normal life and economic activity because of coronavirus. Start there. So now I'm sure you've seen the images of clear skies across the world, from my hometown of Los Angeles to Beijing, brought about by the widespread shutdowns. With the drop in air pollution, the Himalayas are now visible from certain parts of India where they haven't been for 30 years. What's happening now, though, is no one's idea of a good way to reduce air pollution, and the declines are surely only to be temporary. But the cleaner pandemic skies do show how fast we can bring down air pollution when we reduce the burning of fossil fuels. This experience may offer lessons for the kind of world we want to build after the pandemic. How often have we heard that dirty air is the unavoidable byproduct of economic growth? That's simply not true, as Pope Francis writes in Laudato Si. He writes, human beings are creatures of this world, enjoying a right to life and happiness and endowed with unique dignity. So we cannot fail to consider the effects on people's lives of environmental deterioration, current models of development, and the throwaway culture. While the skies have cleared during the pandemic, air pollution, specifically the tiny particles known as PM 2.5, inhaled in the past, still causing harm today. And that's because the fine particles penetrate deep into the body, promoting hypertension, heart disease, and diabetes, all of which increase complications in coronavirus patients. The particles also weaken the immune system and fuel inflammation in the lungs and respiratory tract, adding to the risk both of getting COVID-19 and of having severe symptoms. Francesca Domenicini, she's a Harvard statistics professor, who released a study in the last week that got a lot of headlines across the country on the links between air pollution and COVID-19, says that if you're getting COVID and you have been breathing polluted air, it's really putting gasoline on a fire. The Houston region, for one, has a chronic problem with air pollution. In 2019, the American Lung Association once again gave failing grades to Harris and Montgomery counties for dirty air. And this is important to remember. Even without the pressing threat of coronavirus, air pollution kills people. It kills more people each year than AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis combined. This family lives in the shadow of a refinery in Manchester, just a few miles east of downtown Houston. This is Rosa, her mother Natalie, and her father Mike. And the picture frame is her sister Sierra. Doctors diagnosed Sierra in September 2015 with an aggressive form of kidney cancer. She died almost to the day a year later. She was 3 years old. Mike says of air pollution that people here get hit upside the head and still don't know what to do. I need to get Rosa out of here. The cause of deadly air pollution, as we know, is the burning of fossil fuels, which generates PM 2.5 and other airborne particles that hang in the atmosphere. For example, every year that the coal-fired WA Parish power plant near Sugar Land continues to operate, as it has, an estimated 180 people in Texas and surrounding states die prematurely, a recent Rice University study found. Coal-fired power plants, that plant was one of the nation's leading sources of harmful sulfur dioxide. In 2017, and coal-fired power plants also emit mercury, a powerful, potent neurotoxin. Babies and children are particularly vulnerable to the health effects of mercury. When a woman is pregnant, the mercury in her blood can harm her baby, even if it does not cause her any immediate problems. Mercury easily crosses the placenta, and it concentrates in a developing baby's blood and organs, including the brain, where it can disrupt the growth of that precious organ. Hundreds of thousands of newborns in the U.S. every year face the risk of learning disabilities and the loss of IQ due to prenatal exposure to mercury. Scripture plainly teaches that life is sacred. We are called to protect it at every stage. The unborn are among the most vulnerable members of our society. We must protect them and all future generations and ensure their right to an abundant life. Although the numbers continue to decline, we still lose far too many unborn children in the United States to abortion. Few, however, realize that each year we also jeopardize the health and well-being of millions more children through toxic air pollution. It affects all of us. So how do we get our Catholic communities to understand the connection between protecting life and combating air pollution and the other destruction to the environment? It's challenging, but it starts by sharing with what we know, that the air we breathe in our common home require protection. That said, we must do more than provide information, as Pope Francis writes in Laudato Si. As we move through this moment of acute crisis, we lift up our shared values and use them as a guide for what comes next. Now is the time to choose to get this right. Every policy and funding decision should lead us to the future we want, a fair and just society where every one of us can thrive. We cannot make choices simply because they are economical or convenient, or dismiss environmental degradation as an unavoidable byproduct, because caring for God's creation is a matter of life. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt.